the moderator. Oh, what's coming? It's coming, Horizon Europe. So it's my pleasure to be the moderator of a Horizon Europe for next multimodal, multi-annual framework program of Horizon Europe. So this time it's coming to Latvia. It's been waiting for almost, I would say, half a year or a year. And this is a time for Latvian scientists, entrepreneurs, all the people who are gathering around to see what's happening, to be promoted and to see what's happening. So currently we can join through the Zoom platform, Facebook and YouTube. So all of them, you stay tuned, and we are happy to announce, yes, Horizon Europe is here. So for this one, I will give a floor for our Minister of Science and Education, Anit Mojniec. That's it. Horizon Europe is here. The message should be spread out. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Kaspars. Thank you. Dear Director General Jean-Éric Paquet, dear colleagues in the Commission, dear research and higher education community in Latvia, I'm delighted that my first international address in the field of research is on the occasion of launch of Horizon Europe program in Latvia. My first priority entering the office as the minister a few weeks ago was how to get back students and teachers in their classrooms and auditoriums, sportsmen in competition, and of course, researchers in their labs as soon as possible. Research and innovation has guided us out of the COVID crisis, and it should guide our society and economy through recovery towards green and digital transition and better, healthier lives. So what do we do in Latvia to achieve this? Let me highlight the most important reforms and policy actions. We had approved national science, technology and innovation guidelines for next 7 years with ambitious investment targets. Our goal is to reach 1.5% GDP investment in research and innovation and to double the share of public finance for research organizations in order to strengthen their competitiveness, international networking and technology transfer. These targets are aligned with goals and targets defined for the new European research area. And our midterm priority, number one, is strengthening human capital in research with an emphasis on quality doctoral studies, retaining talents and fostering intersectoral and transitional mobility. We are implementing ambitious governance reform in our higher education through involvement of external expertise in the strategic management. We want to strengthen universities and higher education institutions in fulfilling their role and to become a knowledge and science centers which serve society and work in close bond with industry, entrepreneurs, and local communities. What do we expect from the Horizon Europe program? We want an excellent, open, and inclusive Horizon Europe. We need impact and knowledge sharing across Europe. During next 7 years, we, member states and the Commission, have to prove that synergies among European programs, structural funds, and national investments work smoothly and mutually enhancing way, boost opportunities and help spreading excellence. No doubt that excellent mental science is a knowledge base for society and technological breakthrough. While acknowledging all of the merits of the European Research Council, we think that ERC should look for additional measures to liaise with research communities which haven't been so successful in ERC grants. Maybe more courage is needed also from our side to liaise with ERC and make us of visiting research fellowships or mentoring initiatives. We recently completed the international assessment of our research institutions, and it showed considerable progress in all areas with highest results in medicine, humanities, arts, and agriculture. May this assessment serve us for inspiration, searching for new, amazing cross-sectoral frontier research ideas. It also clearly indicates our interest and potential contribution to Horizon Europe missions, especially cancer, and our interest in forthcoming EIT knowledge and innovation community in culture and creative industries. Our priority always have been collaborative research in Pillar 2. Program needs to be focused and agile in order to integrate bottom-up proposals and emerging global and national priorities. We see a good potential for synergy between Pillar 2 and our national priorities in smart specialization strategy. And those are bioeconomy, biomedicine, smart materials, smart energy, and information and communication technologies. We have earmarked a substantial share of structural funds for those priorities with a view to increase collaboration with industry and partnerships, especially in key digital technologies and smart networks. Horizon 2020 widening activities allowed us to build excellence and innovation capacity in biomedicine and smart materials. We hope similarly to develop other three priorities, which are ICT, smart energy, and bioeconomy, and we are committed to use all the potential of widening activity in Horizon Europe. Transforming ideas into innovations is a challenge, but also an opportunity for countries like Latvia's. We certainly can do more in this area, especially in digital transition. Let me mention just one example. The 5G connected and automated mobility project, which has been being implemented by Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and France, together with big industry partners and co-finance from Horizon 2020. We have company Microtik, which is a significant player in global value chain in 5G. We have other courageous and innovative companies, and we have long-standing research expertise. Based on that, we are building innovation ecosystem pilot projects in biomedicine, smart cities, photonics, and smart materials. Let's build on this success. Let's be ambitious. I also would like to emphasize the wider policy framework of a new European research area, free circulation of knowledge and open science. We are planning to invest in National Open Science Platform about 20 million euros with an aim to share and learn. And finally, let me highlight one more point: involvement of citizens and stakeholders. As a Minister of Education, I see that citizen science, dialogue with society, and communication are of utmost importance. Citizen science is a rather recent initiative in Latvia. According to recent study, only 1% of Latvians have participated in such activity. So this is untapped potential, especially for involvement of young people and schools, and for opening to them a breathtaking world of science. I strongly believe that together we can unlock creativity and innovation potential of Europe's research and education. So I wish you a very fruitful meeting and thank you for attention.
So Kaspar, I suppose you were suggesting that I take the floor. So Minister, if you agree, I will do that. It's a pleasure to meet you today. Welcome to Research and Innovation. Congratulations on your appointment. And thank you very much for this very ambitious vision which you have presented, which does build indeed on Latvia's ambition on research and innovation, which is producing really good results. So Horizon Europe is here. And my expectation is that Latvia will continue to do extremely well in Horizon Europe, as you did in Horizon 2020, building on your participation in the 7th framework program. In fact, Latvia has one of the highest return from the program, and funding out of EU funds. You also mentioned structural funds, where Latvia is doing extremely well. In particular, I would argue, because you were quite hard-nosed on the smart specialization strategy, which I always present as an example when I travel across Europe and present the research policy instruments which are available to member states to restructure and have more impact. You have a strong basis. And Minister, I'm particularly impressed by the recovery and resilience plan of Latvia, where you are amongst a few member states which really decided to use that investment plan to increase very significantly support to the private sector, which is in terms of startups really thriving in Latvia, but also investing in public research, consolidating institutions, working on centers of excellence, which you are doing also on the basis indeed of EU funding now. So there is, I think, a very strong perspective to see great participation of Latvian scientists and innovators in Horizon Europe, allowing Latvia to fully contribute to Europe's impact through research on its green and digital transformation. And I'm sure that research will in Latvia, as in many other places, drive the recovery and allow you to build a more resilient society. Horizon Europe is indeed there. Julien Guerrier will present it in more detail this morning, so I will spare you from my long presentation of Horizon Europe. But what I want to underline is that Horizon Europe is more ambitious than ever on science, with the European Research Council as the biggest component of the program. So I very much hope that we will have more Latvian scientists grantees from the European Research Council. I have no doubt that this will happen, but just come to the European Research Council, apply, bring forward your disruptive ideas, and there is no reason that we don't see more and more Latvian ERC grantees. Mr. If I can just underline one new opportunity which exists for Latvia and for widening countries, which is the possibility to use a fraction of your regional policy funds and transfer them into Horizon Europe with possibly as a destination the ERC or the European Innovation Council. And with that, ERC proposals which are deemed excellent, but which are under the level of the Horizon Europe budget as such, could then be picked up. And these projects would then be not just seals of excellence, they would be full ERC grants with the label, the reputation which comes with it. I mean, my teams are certainly discussing it with yours already, but I think here is also an avenue to build up in terms of lighthouse projects, a research and innovation system like the Latvian one. And then on the European Innovation Council, which is the really big novelty of Horizon Europe, I do expect a lot of success from Latvian innovators. You have invested around your universities and around your national systems a strong incubator approach. We have many startups in Latvia. That is not a surprise to me. I visited and saw a lot of the science and the engineering leading to these startups. So I very much hope that you will also be able to use fully the toolbox of instruments available in the European Innovation Council. Of course, the accelerator to scale up, but there are many other services also available for Latvian innovators to grow, scale up with solutions which will benefit your economy and the transformation of Europe. And I finished, Minister, with the widening program, which was decided in the negotiations of Horizon Europe as a key priority. We have more than multiplied by 3 the budget available for widening, so it's a top priority for 27 member states and the European Parliament. And so the success which you have had already in the past, I think would certainly happen again. And I think you can strategically look at the widening component in conjunction with regional policy, as you did, to help institutions continue to develop and maybe find a number of areas as part of your priorities where the widening component can certainly help a Latvian institution get to the next level. And we have this very specific new instrument in the widening toolbox, which allows consortia, selected in Horizon Europe. In the rare event, I hope, where there is no widening country, with that we would then be able to do a further call and see many more widening country institutions participate in these consortia. And that, of course, will also be available for Latvia. So I think it is really important for all of you listening today that you participate fully in the preparations of the program. We will have information days starting on the 28th of June. The work program was adopted this week. At the Research and Innovation Days next week, we will also discuss the program, the new rules, and our common ambitions. And it will also be for you, I think, an opportunity to meet many actors across Europe and team up with them, make yourself available and relevant for consortia building. And that is the way for even increased participation of Latvian scientists in Horizon Europe, which I very much look forward to, Minister. Thank you very much for allowing me to open today with you.
Thank you, Eric. And thank you from my personal perspective for a silent transfer from one to another speaker. So thanks for cheering up. So up in our program, so there will be a vision from Latvian Ministry of Science. So Jānis Paiders will share it. And Jānis Paiders is Deputy Director for our Science Innovation Department of Ministry. So Jānis, please take a vision forward.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna give you from my part a brief presentation about Latvian anticipation of Horizon Europe program, especially in the context of previous results in Horizon 2020 framework program, and in some cases even before. So good morning, colleagues from the Commission and other all of today's participants who are interested in the upcoming framework program, either as participants or representing their institutions who will be heavily involved in this program. But first of all, I'm going to give you a brief overview about key research facts that define Latvian research and innovation ecosystem. We have 5 key smart specialization areas, and these areas from 21 until 2027 remain the same as they were before. Right now, only in the last few years, we are slowly seeing our first major research niches and detailed specialization projects that are happening within these teams. So we at least until 2027, our specialization priority focus remain unchanged. Overall, when we look at our research system, we are roughly speaking at the moment about 200 million euros a year, with 0.64% invested from GDP, a number that is on the lower scale when we compare ourselves with other European countries, and it's one of our priorities to increase it. We see that about a quarter of our companies are active in innovations. And when we look at from the institutional side, we have 64 research institutions currently in Latvia. A lot of them are small and specializing in specific 1 or 2 research projects or project proposals. But from the public side, we have 22 state-funded research institutions. And overall, when we speak about the research and innovation ecosystem in Latvia, we speak about a bit more than 12,000 people who are working in research, which is approximately 6,000 when we look at full-time equivalents. And our research strengths lies in the fact that we have a compact, modern, and effective research and innovation ecosystem. We have some areas with when we compare ourselves with other countries with high research quality, especially in some fields in medicine, engineering and technology, and natural sciences. In terms of volume in a lot of areas in natural sciences and engineering and technology, we have a high number of publications and high relative research activity and specialization we see in a lot of fields in agricultural sciences and engineering and technology. Also, 2021 is not just the year when Horizon Europe is launched. This is also a year where we defined our new research policy priorities until 21, and it was also a time that allowed us to reflect on what has happened in our system in last 6 or 7 years. And overall, if we see out the major changes that has happened in our research innovation system since 2014, we see a considerable growth and increase in personal effectiveness of our researchers. Our average performance of research has greatly increased, especially keeping in mind the context that research investments remained relatively stagnant. On governance and organization, we had progress with institutional consolidation based on previous research assessment. We greatly reduced our research fragmentation, and right now we see that for a lot of these consolidated research institutions, we need more time for these mergers to stabilize. When it comes to links with industry, we had some progress, but we still see that on a lot of cases, the target indicators and financial incentives that were made to foster these activities, they were not enough. They're relatively formal, and they often had relatively limited impact on funding, and we see that as something that we need to improve as well. And we see that one of the areas where we need most urgent progress comes is with research excellence. Right now, our research excellence is, I would say, scattered amongst many islands of performance, and we need to greatly increase the volume of our research excellence in our system. For that, we have our new research innovation and technology policy guidelines for 21-27, where, to summarize, our main issues lie with the need to have sufficient support for research and development. Our target indicator is 1.5%, and it is also tied with sufficient additional investments from public funds, especially for government funding for research. We also see that meaningful growth and changes in our research system is impossible without growth in human capital. We see the need to have at least 8,000 research workers in full-time equivalent until 2027, which is 2,000 more than we have right now. And also, in order to achieve this, we need to have a diverse and competitive, and I would say even more diverse and even more competitive research system that is, of course, heavily tied with our success on an international scale, especially Horizon Europe program. On the internal governance side, this is also a topic that is directly related with the reforms that we are having, not just in research but also in higher education. Our newly approved law on higher education governance is one of the ways how to address the urgent need for reforms in higher education, which will foster modernization of our higher education system and necessity for governing councils. And our new internal higher education governance model, together with new academic career model, new doctoral training framework that was approved last year and will be implemented shortly, together with changes in our higher education and also in our research funding instruments, is necessary background to achieve it. And to put it simply, our higher education's internal governance model is mostly related to the need to empower external stakeholders in strategic decision-making through councils, to more appropriate and efficient organizational structures, to a more strategic institutional governance, to increased academic and non-academic professionalism of all staff, and through strong leadership. And this is also, in this area, international research programs and at Horizon Europe plays a part as well. When it comes to, I would say, some of the critical aspects that we need to address in our research innovation system for human capital, it is directly related to need to further develop our research renewal. Right now, when we look at our doctoral number of doctoral degrees that are obtained each year, when we adjust them by population, we are currently lowest in European Union. Of course, we have to keep in mind that doctoral degrees in countries is directly tied with the number of researchers. But even if we put that adjustment, still at the moment Latvia has smaller renewal for young researchers than is needed to even sustain the current amount of researchers. And in this area, this is where our new doctoral training model is addressing, together with planned expansion of some of our research grant programs that would allow for greater renewal. And also, this is an issue not just with the number of entrants, but mostly with high dropout rate that we see right now. Moving on to Horizon Europe program, we first have to look, and in order to see the detailed potential that we have within the new program, there's, I would say, no better way to look than at the results that we had in Horizon 2020 program. As Jean-Eric Paquet mentioned in his speech, Latvia has had great results in this program. We obtained more than 140 million euros of European Commission's funding in this program. And what's more important, our performance in this program in terms of volume is higher than in all 3 previous framework programs combined. And we see that the interest in this program and the results were significantly higher. The only I would say downside is that the success rate decreased, but it's not a problem unique to Latvia. It happened all across all countries due to the overall increased interest about participation in this program. And what's also good is that in recent years, there has been a great increase in participation from enterprises. Out of these 114 million euros, a bit more than 30 million euros come from the business side, which also shows the potential not just our public sector has, but also our enterprises have in participation in this program. If we look into more detail, if we break down Horizon 2020 funding by year, by call sign, we also see a positive trend that with, I would say, a relatively slow start, the amount of projects increased by each year with more than 20 million euros each year in 2018 and in 2020. And also, if we look at our results in Horizon 2020 as a percentage of our total R&D spending, we are having it at around 10% of our all research ecosystem, which among European Union countries is in, I would say, a stable second place, only behind Cyprus. So amongst European Union countries, this is a program that plays a much larger role than in countries like Germany or France or Spain. Also, we see the direct impact Horizon 2020 has on our research international collaboration. In recent years, our research international collaboration as percentage of our total research output has not just steadily increased, but also surpassed the European Union average. And it is related to 2 main factors. One is, in recent years, extended participation in different international research and also higher education consortiums, projects and activities. But mostly we see the tremendous role Horizon 2020 has towards internationalization of our research system. Still, I have to note that even though right now it is more than 50% of all of our research output that is done in some collaboration with international partners, when we look at other similarly small countries, there's still room to grow, and we look at further progress in this area as well. What also is noticeable, if we're looking at how our international collaboration patterns have shifted. One of the main changes that has happened, the overall volume of course increased since our research sector and research output grew, but also our research collaboration pattern is slowly but steadily in recent years shifting away from former USSR countries to Western Europe and Europe in general. And we see this huge role Horizon 2020 has in opening our research sector towards our partners across European Union. Also, when we speak about other areas, not just in Horizon Europe, but also on our national policy planning level, open science is among our new priorities. When we look at our research output and how much of it is published in open access journals, we see that also slowly and steadily open access is growing in Latvia, and this is directly related with our initiatives that we are having, and we are at the moment developing our open science strategy that puts emphasis on these topics, and also will be directly related with our participation in the European Open Science Cloud activities. Also, when we look at Horizon 2020 program, we have to note, and this was noted in the previous speeches, of course, that when we compare our structure of our results with the program in general, we see that we have some niches that are more interesting for Latvia than it is for other countries. When we look at Horizon 2020, even though in Horizon 2020 about 1% of the total budget of the program went to widening activities, for Latvia it is more than almost 30%. This one small fraction of the program plays a tremendous role for our results, and it is crucial to bridge the gap that happens in research innovation across Europe. When it comes to industrial leadership and societal challenges part, this is important for us. We see that we are performing well, but it depends on the theme, of course, and our, I would say, still unresolved challenge is limited ability to fully participate in excellent science activities, especially when it comes to European Research Council grants. Going into more detail, these challenges to participate in the highest level research excellence projects in Europe is, of course, not just unique to Latvia. This is a divide that is happening across Europe, especially between so-called old Europe and new European member states. We could look at it from a lot of different ways, but they mostly show the same picture. For example, if we look at how many European Research Council grants were awarded in a 10-year period, adjusted by a number of researchers a country has. We see that Latvia, together with a lot of new European Union countries, is underperforming by magnitude of 3 to 4 times, sometimes even more. And therefore, but we also see some examples in some countries in new European Union countries that have achieved some progress, and mostly these are related to national level activities that emphasize research excellence more. We also see that as I said, we can map it from a lot of different ways, and our research quality still is lagging behind average level in European Union. And as I mentioned, research excellence is defined as our priority targets from 21 to 27. When we look at the industrial aspect of the Horizon 2020, we also, as I mentioned, have specific thematic areas where we are, I would say, overperforming and achieving really good results in all leadership and enabling and industrial technologies. We see that when we look at this whole part, about 70% of all Latvian results are in information and communication technologies, and best results in this team is for Tilde, University of Latvia, Institute of Electronics and Computer Science, Riga Technical University, and Leta. We see that our ICT sector is considerably more active and considerably greater ability for it to participate in European networks than in other areas where we still, in a lot of them, are still relatively underperforming. This is also I think a good place where we should mention our business sector and its success in Horizon 2020, and this is I would say a really interesting graph, because overall our business sector's participation in Horizon 2020 is somewhat linked with the size of the sector in our research and innovation system. But 2020 was an exception, and we really hope that this was not an exceptional anomaly, and that this positive trend will continue, because in 2020 our business projects in Horizon 2020 were almost as large as previously in previous years. And also business sector has relatively similar rates for Horizon 2020 participation. A bit less than 10% of all business R&D spending comes from Horizon 2020. This is an area where not just Ministry of Education and Science is responsible. It is directly related with Ministry of Economics and Latvian Investment and Development Agency policy towards innovation, which is defined in our recently approved National Industrial Policy Guidelines. And right now there are 3 active research and innovation value chain ecosystems in related to smart specialization areas in smart cities, photonics and smart materials, and biomedicine. And in these value chain ecosystems, successful participation for businesses in Horizon Europe is defined as priorities as well. To briefly put into context our results in innovation for SMEs, overall we see that we had good results in this part of the program. But when we look at when we judge it with other parts of Horizon 2020, but we also see that it mostly comes from one enterprise that has managed to get a second stage project, Lightspace Technologies. And overall, I want to note that we also see that for especially small and medium enterprises, where the overall success rate for participation is low, 4%, which is much lower than in the other parts of the program, we see that after 1 or 2 submitted proposals, a lot of enterprises just drop out and don't continue. But we see that those enterprises that continue to see this as a priority have much better results if they continue. For societal challenges, this is a part of the program where we see a relatively balanced structure in the framework program, with 2/3 of the program results in energy, food, and health, but also transport, inclusive, innovative, and reflective societies, and climate part for some institutions is important as well. And we see that in this area, it is mostly public institutions who are achieving the best results. For spreading excellence and widening participation, when we compare Latvian results with other countries in this part of the program, for us, it's mostly been about being successful in teaming projects, in 2 teaming projects, CAMART and Baltic Biomaterials Center, while we still don't see. We didn't, in this framework program, didn't see a way how to fully capitalize on AeroChairs or other parts of this program. And concluding concluding my presentation, in the end, I will put briefly I would say ambitions for the next framework program. Our national target that we defined is to have 0.2% of total Horizon Europe funding for Latvian institutions that are participating, which is a bit higher than we are having in the Horizon 2020 program, and it is similar with our GDP share that we are having amongst European countries. But we also see that in order to achieve this goal, in order to fully capitalize on Horizon Europe program and the fact that a lot of the parts on the new framework program, for example, widening part is 3 times larger, and this is good news for Latvian participation. In order to achieve that, we of course need to do, I would say, our homework. We need to find ways how to severely increase our government R&D investment, which is amongst the lowest in Europe. And also it is especially for the business side, further growth in Horizon Europe is tied with how well business R&D investment and capacity will grow in the upcoming years. And in order to do that, we also have a wide range of national research and development programs that are either directly or indirectly linked with Horizon Europe. Directly linked programs include European funds that for support for Horizon Europe participation, either for European partnerships, funding for above threshold projects, or funding for successful widening projects for where it will be relevant, and funds allocated for that are relatively high, significant, and it will boost our performance, no doubt. We also have national budget proposed for it as well, in form of government funding for European partnerships that will hopefully allow us to successfully integrate in this new part of the framework program. And also we have open science support for structural funds as well. But also wanted to note that we have a lot of programs that are indirectly supporting and indirectly responsible for our success in the program, from the government programs like basic research funding, fundamental and applied research grants, and other that are crucial, especially, for example, for our successful participation in the excellent science pillar. We have continuous structural fund programs like practical oriented research grants and smart specialization centers of excellence, that is our infrastructure funding for the next period, postdoctoral program and other, and also our recovery and resilience instruments are directly related to our indirectly related to our successful participation as well. And when it comes to innovation projects and participation of our enterprises, wide range of in support programs that Ministry of Economics has will indirectly work towards that as well. And to conclude, our next steps for successful Latvian participation in Horizon Europe, to summarize our timely development of our new R&D investment programs, need to have adjusted national legislation that is ready for Horizon Europe, because right now in a lot of legislation it is still tied with Horizon 2020, and this is a job that since the regulation is completed and approved, we are doing and we will do this year. As I mentioned, and as Minister mentioned in her speech, public funding increase for research. It is crucial to at least double it from where we are now, and also intensified business R&D investment. Our participation, successful participation in European partnerships based on national priorities and available funding. And of course, it is related to the upcoming reforms in higher education and research governance, and strengthened research and innovation analytical capacity and national contact points. Thank you. Sorry that I was a couple of minutes above my allocated time.
All right, thank you, Jans. I just want to mention that there will be a question and answers later on, and I will really encourage people to start to write questions in our Zoom platform. For those who join us by YouTube and on Facebook, please send a message through those relevant chats. So to continue, now the floor will be for Julien Gaurier from European Commission Common Policy Center. So Julien, I think you will have some inspiring talk as well, based on the statistics what just Janis showed, right? Go on.
Yes, thanks a lot and good morning to all of you. Well, to continue on the statistics that were just presented, let me highlight just one figure, which is the average success rate of Latvian candidates, applicants to Horizon 2020. It's more than 14% success rate, which is quite above the average success rate in the EU of 12%. It means that you have excellent candidates, and if more of you present their applications, you can certainly improve your overall participation in Horizon Europe. So I can only encourage you to bank on that excellent base that you have in Latvia in order to participate more in Horizon Europe. Now, let me say a few words about Horizon Europe. The real launch is now, basically. At the end of April, the Parliament voted in favor of adopting Horizon Europe's program, overwhelmingly 677 votes in favor and only 5 against, which underlines also the very strong support that we have for research and innovation across Europe. It was the same on the side of member states. You know that the budget of Horizon Europe is increasing by 30% compared to Horizon 2020 in constant budgetary terms. This is enormous. And this underlines the consensus we have in Europe that even in the current budget constraints that we have, it is very important to invest in research and innovation if we want to address the overall challenges we are facing, be it the green transition, the digital transition, the sanitary crisis, our economic competitiveness in the future. They all depend on us being at the forefront of research and innovation, and this is well understood across Europe. So the legal basis for Horizon Europe entered into force on the 12th of May, but we have already adopted the strategic plan for Horizon Europe's first half term in March, and the first work programs. We have adopted a few months ago the work programs for the European Research Council, for the European Innovation Council, a first COVID-19 variants specific research work program at the end of March. And just a few days ago, on the 15th, on Tuesday, we adopted in the Commission the main work program for Horizon Europe 2021-2022, which means that the first calls will be open as from the 22nd of June next week. We will have information days at the end of the month and beginning of next month. So this is the real rollout of Horizon Europe. What I would like to do this morning is to present to you Horizon Europe in a nutshell. First, it's structured based on 3 pillars, which you know probably relatively well because it's an evolution, not a revolution. It's very similar to Horizon 2020 itself. And then I will insist on the novelties. Jean-Éric Paquet underlined the European Innovation Council. I will also mention the missions and also the strategic approach that is quite novel in Horizon Europe. So first, on the structure of the program, we have 3 pillars and a transversal part. The first pillar is excellent science. It will support creativity, researchers at the forefront of science and technological frontiers. It includes the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions for the circulation of brains in Europe and the initial and lifelong training of our researchers. It includes also the European Research Council, and you heard the call of Jean-Éric Paquet for Latvians to present applications there as well. The research infrastructure actions will also in this pillar ensure that the academic and industry will have access to a set of state-of-the-art scientific equipment and services. So with Pillar 1, we really want to support the best minds across the world and promote Europe as an attractive place for all researchers to come here to study and research. Pillar 2 is the global challenges and industrial competitiveness. It includes 6 clusters from health to digital industry space, climate, energy, mobility, agriculture, food, environment, culture, creativity, inclusive society, and civil security. And Pillar 3 is Innovative Europe. It's the European Innovation Council in particular to support innovators in breakthrough research and innovation fields and supports the European innovation ecosystems. So you have Pillar 1 for fundamental research, Pillar 3 for innovation, and Pillar 2, which is the bulk of the research and innovation program for collaborative research across themes and thematic areas. And last but not least, we have a transversal pillar that cuts across the program and covers widening actions and European research area to support a number of activities to attract and retain talent across Europe and facilitate the circulation of brains across the Union. Latvia is participating across the activities of Horizon. We heard the statistics, and we are there also to support you to do more to raise awareness on the opportunities that Horizon Europe will propose, including to new actors such as SMEs, local authorities, and citizens. With the good success rate I've mentioned, I'm sure we are starting on very good footing to see an improvement of your participation in the program. Now let me focus on the 3 main novelties I would like to highlight. The first one being the missions. This is based on the Apollo 11 mission of the 60s, when in 61, Kennedy said that the Americans would send a man on the moon before the end of the decade and bring him back safely to Earth. This was a time-bound, ambitious, aspirational objective that inspired a generation of Americans and beyond, and that was able to mobilize energies across research and innovation fields and well beyond to achieve this objective. So this is what we are looking for with European missions. They will be rooted in research and innovation, but they will go well beyond research and innovation, and they will meet aspirations of our citizens. And for that, they were developed with citizens themselves, not by just consulting them as we do usually, but by really sitting together with them, as we've done across Europe, with almost a blank sheet of paper to identify what areas, what missions would meet their aspirations and how we would achieve those objectives. So the 5 missions that have been identified are in the field of climate adaptation, with the objective to work with 200 communities in Europe to create up to 150 climate resilient demonstration projects. There will be a mission in the field of oceans, seas, and coastal and continental water. Another one in the field of cancer, and we heard this morning how this could be interesting for Latvia, with the objective to save more than 3 million lives by 2030 by working on the whole chain. Of course, research and innovation, but also disease prevention, palliative care, accompanying patients for all age groups and types of cancer. So there is no silver bullet to fight cancer. We need to really address the whole range of instruments that we have. Smart and carbon neutral cities is the 4th mission, to establish 100 climate neutral European cities by 2030. Which is ambitious. And the 5th one is on soil health and food, with the objective to ensure that by 2030, again, a time-bound and clear objective, 75% of the soils in member states are healthy. These missions are concrete. They have time-limited objectives. They meet the aspirations of Europeans. They can have a very concrete impact on us creating a greener Europe, a healthier Europe. And they can only be accomplished if we can mobilize the energies of researchers, of innovators, and well beyond at European, national, and local levels. This is something we are currently studying in the Commission. We have implementation plans for those 5 missions, and we will see if we can launch their implementation full-fledged already this autumn. The second novelty I wanted to highlight is the European Innovation Council, where we are doubling the budget compared to the pilot phase in Horizon 2020 to support the startups and then their scale up, where they are developing creative and breakthrough innovations at European level. And the third element or novelty I wanted to highlight is the strategic approach we have in Horizon Europe compared to the predecessors. We want a program that is much more plugged into delivering impact for our overarching objectives: a climate neutral Europe by 2050, a digitally enabled Europe, a competitive Europe, and a resilient Europe. And to do that, we have developed for the first time key strategic orientations that are starting, that looked at those overarching political objectives. And so what is the orientation we want to give to our research program and to the funding allocation in order to contribute most to these objectives? So we identified 4 key strategic orientations that are laid out in the strategic plan, and it's about promoting an open strategic autonomy by developing key digital enabling and emerging technologies, restoring Europe's ecosystems and biodiversity, making Europe the first digitally enabled circular, climate neutral and sustainable economy, and creating a more resilient, inclusive and democratic European society. And with those orientations trickling down, we have identified expected impacts for the program and concrete actions that are now embedded in the work program that has been just adopted for Horizon Europe's first 2 years. So in conclusion, what I would like to say is that Horizon Europe is happening, and it's happening now. Latvia is well placed to benefit from it. We want it to have the maximum possible impact on our society, our citizens, and our overarching European objectives. And it is really critical that the green and digital transitions are achieved with and for all European citizens in an inclusive manner. And that's the way we want all of us, all of you, to participate in the program. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thanks, Julien. I think it's inspiring for green initiatives and a green philosophy where we should follow. So with a green, I mean, let's see, currently the next session is dedicated to what's and how's the project being implemented so far and what we have successes. So we can build our future from learnings what we have from a previous for Horizon 2020. And for this one, I want to call Krzysztof Sklavins from Riga Technical University Rudolf Simtić Biomaterial and Innovation Center to give his talk about Marie Curie action experience and what he has learned and what he wants to bring as food for thought for next Horizon Europe. So Krzysztof, the floor is yours as well.
I start again. My microphone was muted, as always. Hello, and thank you so much for this opportunity to present it here. So, as you heard, my name is Krzysztof Sklavins. I'm currently a researcher at Riga Biomaterial Innovations and Development Center at Riga Technical University. So, looking at the program for today's event, what appeared to me that next speaker is going to address really a big and important topics. You know, they will talk about innovations. They will talk about scientific policies and things like that. So there's really important topics that need to be addressed. Of course, what I would like to do, I would like to zoom in. And I would really like to talk about the people who are really at the core of all these things. And these are researchers. And of course, Horizon programs have a really direct and significant impact on the researchers at all levels, starting from the PhD students, postdocs, group leaders, principal investigators, and so on and so forth. So Horizon really provides opportunities for these researchers to develop, to grow, to advance their career, and achieve things that maybe otherwise would not be possible. And to illustrate this, I want to use the example that I know the best, which is myself. I started my research career in 2011. So I was born and raised in Latvia, and in 2011, I decided to do a PhD abroad. So I moved to Austria. After finishing my PhD, I successfully moved to the industry, had spent some time there. And afterwards also moved to the Research Institute as a deputy head for metabolomics and proteomics facility. What I realized, let's say roughly 2 years ago, is that I would like to make a transition to a proper academic career, to become a professor, to become a group leader, to pick up some kind of my own research objective and pursue it for my rest of my career. And what I realized is that I have certain gaps in my knowledge and my skill set. And these gaps, of course, originates from my kind of unique and maybe unconventional career path up till then. So to fill up those gaps, I looked around what would be the opportunities for me to develop my career further, move the direction I want. And what came to my kind of realization that Horizon program, and in particular Marie Skłodowska career actions, could provide me these opportunities, could give me the means to transition to the fully academic career and to kind of make this change in my career levels. And for those who you don't know, the Marie Curie supports the scientific mobility, and as the previous speaker nicely put, it provides circulation of brains within the Europe. So it also fosters research and cooperation across borders, sectors, and disciplines. And to apply for Marie Curie action, you need to find a host institute. So I thought this also would be really good opportunity for me not only to switch my career, but also to move back to my home country, Latvia. So I found a host institute, and that was Biomaterial Innovation Development Center here at Riga Technical University. And of course, every researcher comes with its own, let's call it baggage. You know, they have their own goodie sets, they have their own experience, their network, their skills. And the same applies for the research institutes. They all have their own facilities, people, network. And while talking with my host institute, with the Riga Technical University, we could find a link. We could find something that is common for us, having my own unique experience, having their own unique expertise. We could find a link that would allow us to transfer the knowledge between us. And what I also want to point out here, that even though it's kind of on a personal level, you know, I found a job here, but it also, we can zoom out and see that also these links connect the countries. So we make this connection across the border. Now we have connection between Austrian research and Latvian research, and it's a kind of two-way street. And of course, this connection that we kind of opened here, it's available to all the researchers here in Latvia. It doesn't exclusively apply to Riga Technical University. And as a matter of fact, I have been already involved in several projects that kind of uses my experience and expertise to advance their research. So together, we could write a really successful Marie Curie individual fellowship application. And briefly in this project, so I'm working in the Biomaterial Development Center. What we aim is to develop a completely novel class of biomaterials. So we want to put in or incorporate metabolites that could then modulate immune response. And so this project, in a sense, really combines the expertise that I have, so meaning metabolites and metabolite measurements, together with expertise of my host institute. So in essence, the Marie Curie Fellowship allowed me to bridge this gap in my career. It allowed me to move on and kind of be successful in the aims that I have. Furthermore, what it did, it really allowed me to accelerate my career. I could, by having this experience, now being exposed to this new research environment, I could apply and become a group leader at, or was selected as a group leader for Baltic Biomaterial Center of Excellence. And what is Baltic Biomaterial Center of Excellence? It is Horizon 2020 Teaming Phase 2 project, which combines and joins several research institutes here in Latvia with their international partners, and it aims to really cover the whole cycle of a biomaterial development. So from developing biomaterials in the lab to delivering them to the patients. So this, and also the part of this project, of course, is development of or setup of new research groups, where I was privileged enough to become a group leader for one of those. And the BBC, so Baltic Biomaterial Center of Excellence, has already established multiple links with the world. So it has attracted researchers from at least 8 different countries across the globe to Riga. So this is, again, the Baltic Biomaterial Center of Excellence provided this opportunity for researchers to come here to share their knowledge, the unique experience with us, and vice versa. We can give it back to them. And so if you think about it, that, you know, this one link that I established here in Latvia was already really successful. So it boosted my career, it advanced it, and we were able to really formulate a nice and innovative project that we could, a research that we can pursue, then it's, we can only imagine what the impact the whole system will have on us, what the impact on each individual research career will have. And it is beyond our imagination to really think what innovative and novel research will result out of it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Kristaps. I saw enjoying your last slides that I got carried away. So I see this is kind of inspiring how it's from one brings bigger and bigger. I think the next talk will be quite similar, but from industry perspective. So Armāns from mobile network operator LMT, floor is yours. Your talk how LMT developed during the Horizon 2020.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Can you hear me well? Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity to share overview and experience. So my name is Armāns Meirāns. I'm innovation lead in Latvia's mobilized telephones, which is a leading telecommunication operator in Latvia. And I'm responsible for public safety and defense vertical in the company. So, the topic is how and do European Union programs are boosting innovations. So before to start with, I will give short introduction of the company. Latvia's mobilized telephones is partly state-owned. We have more than 200 million euro annual turnover. We have 950 employees, a bit more. One of our main ambitions when we decided 4 years ago, when we decided to start innovation process in the company, one of our ambitions is also very close collaboration with government, academic, and startup institutions, and to develop that environment so this collaboration becomes more and more efficient and is not only in Latvia but also on international level. And regarding the innovations, we have at the point we have 4 initiatives. One vertical is regarding the drones, second is regarding the mobility, third is regarding Internet of Things or IoT, and fourth is defense and public safety, which is led by me. But looking on all of those verticals, all of those initiatives, for us as a mobile network operator, of course, joint interest is 5G network technology, which is coming in now, and there is also starting some talks about 6G and so on, and it's something of our top interest for now. And basically 5G is as connectivity technology interesting for all innovative verticals we are working in. What 5G is changing, one of the things is that it requires much more competencies than previous network generation technologies. So we of course need to be successful with 5G use cases. We need telco network equipment manufacturer competence. We need software development capability. We need mobile network operator competences, which we have, of course. And then we need very deep in subject expertise. No matter what is the topic, mobility, drones, or defense, we need to be very into the subject to understand the specific needs and to understand how 5G can help from connectivity point of view. Also, we need computing experience, expertise, and artificial intelligence and machine learning experts. So, and knowing that, we understand that all those competencies, it's very highly difficult to have in the company. Of course, we have some of them, and main of our competence is mobile network operator, and we are working to develop all others, but to have those competencies for today, we need to have very wide partnership network. We need to collaborate with academic research, other companies, and for that, European Union programs helps a lot. Here are some slides about our expertise, experience in the European programs. I wanted to start with the main points why we joined, why we decided to start our path in European Union programs already 4 years ago in 2017. So first, the assumption was that Union programs can give very wide and qualitative networking opportunities. We wanted also to raise our experience in the programs, understand better what is the bonuses and what maybe need to what we can take from those programs regarding our innovation initiatives, and can the participation be also partly as market research for some state-of-the-art technologies. And third, of course, is supportive funding, which is very, very important for to develop the highly skilled team in the company and to develop specific innovative products, solutions for which we are working to. So what we did 2017, 2018, first steps was we started consultation with national contact points representatives in Latvia. So from them, from colleagues there, we got some advices about the brokerage events we need to visit. So we started visiting the brokerage events to understand what is the environment there, how the communication happens, what are some requirements for participation, and so on. And on 2019, we became more active. We already knew more precisely which brokerage events we want to visit. We also had already then some information about our interest and our ambition in the European projects. So we were actively presenting that on the booklets, on the presentation, and so on for all potential partners. And 2019 is the year when the LMT joined also first two projects called Sparta and Comfort Drones. 2020, 2021 was the years, and 2021 is still ongoing. So this is the period when we became we understood more precisely what we want to, or what is the rule we want to have in the projects. We started more directly focusing on the topics of our interest. We joined additional two projects called 5G roads on 2020, and the other project was IMAX. So I will give a short brief afterwards. And we also did huge step forward by coordinating first proposal preparation. Our idea about radio signal sense solution for the border guards called. The project was named Radio 2S. So Sparta was our first project. Project started 2019 on February. It is regarding the cybersecurity. On the same year, 2019, in October, we joined also a project which is not directly to Horizon, but under program Excel joint undertaking, and called Comfort Drones, and it's about autonomous drone solutions. Last year, on September, we joined the 5G roads project, which is regarding 5G network technologies and their usage for autonomous vehicles. And it's a very, very interesting project for us because there's a lot of new things regarding the 5G, even for us as an operator. And there is from networking point of view, it's a highly valued project because there's Ericsson as a consortium leader, which is manufacturer, and there's a lot of competencies needed for 5G use cases. So, yeah, fourth project is more related to defense, and it's under the program European Defense Innovation Development Program, and it's called EMOOCs. I put the picture from our team in that project because I'm from defense vertical, so it's more closer to me. But yeah, basically, it's also very highly valued from my side, from company side. It's highly valued opportunity for networking because we can as a newcomers in the defense industry, we can contact directly with the specialists, with companies we are willing to have a contact in what is very difficult to do other ways. For example, exhibitions is you cannot compare the networking quality what we have in exhibitions and in that project. So and Radio 2S is the project we submitted last year. We were the authors of the idea. We were the coordinators of the project, and the solution was regarding the autonomous monitoring solution for securing European external borders. The need came from the Latvian border guards. So altogether, 6 border guards authorities were in the project from Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Greece, Moldova, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and overall we had 21 partners. So we did not get the financing for the project. Nevertheless, we did very good because we were first from 20 proposals and achieved 30 points from 15 possible. So to conclude, I wanted to once again notice that our assumption about the qualitative networking became real. It's really so that in the European programs, the networking capability and opportunities is very high, and I suggest everyone to use these opportunities. Concept or so. Next step you need to do is to understand if such solution is not already in the market in other maybe other companies are developing in Europe. So, and what you can do, you can try to do it yourself. You can pay someone to do that market research for you, or from my point of view, you need to join the European programs, and then you meet a lot of professional experts, which will through the collaboration will give you notice, is it something really good, or you need to look for other approach. Yeah, and third point is regarding the coordination. Of course, it's if you decide to be a coordinator, be prepared for very hard work. Nevertheless, even if you do not success, it is a very good test for your team, for your company, and a very efficient team building activity. That's my conclusions. And I highly recommend to use those opportunities which are provided by European programs. Horizon 2020 was the previous, Horizon Europe, European Defense Innovation Development Program, and others. And I see a lot of benefits, and I can say in the name of company LMT that we are very satisfied that we decided such step, and we have a lot of plans for future as well. Thank you. And European programs are boosting innovation. It's something we believe, and it's something we experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Armand. What I see as a future and outlook, I think this could be a good point to point out that we can have like questions and answers put in, and I would encourage all the participants and attendees to put some questions in. So to continue forward, I would invite Osvalds Pugovic to give a presentation on Latvian Organic Institute. So it was a vision from a large research institute. What is happening and what was the benefit for us in Europe, and particularly of particular project. Osvalds.
Hello, everyone. Thanks to organizers for this brilliant opportunity to be with you today. I will try to share my screen. So do you see my screen now?
Yes, a full mode, please.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Osvalds Pugovic. I am director of the Latvian Institute of Organic Synthesis, but my today's talk is not about science and not about research. It's about how did we went from Horizon 2020 project to my mind, reasonable initiative of regional science policies. A couple of slides about the Institute. We are here since 1957 already. Currently, we are about 240 people, and during our past, we have discovered 18 original medicines, so we are working in drug discovery and development. And last year, we were assessed as top-ranked research organization in Latvia. 2020 budget was almost 14 million euros. It should be noted that about 1/3 of this funding comes from private sources. In fact, we are a drug discovery and development platform, active in discovery of drug candidates, of preclinical development, and development of manufacturing technologies. And the focus areas are different infections, cardiovascular diseases, CNS diseases, and of course, fighting of cancer. But for today, I represent Alliance for Life Sciences. This is an organization aiming at closing the divide in European health research and innovation, which still exists. This organization unites 12 progressive research organizations out of 11 EU 13 countries. And these organizations strongly believe in institutional culture as a tool to increase performance. We want to share our institutional practices among us and among our colleagues to improve our research management. And we definitely want to contribute to science policy, both at national and EU levels. As any organization, we do have our credo, or we call it Alliance for Life Declaration. And the first point is that we know that it is crucial for Europe to be at the forefront for the global development in life sciences. And as strong research organizations, we have committed to deliver our contribution to this progress. We also believe that this activity should be started at home, which means development of institutional culture, governance. This is the key to further performance improvement. And the major focal points of our alliance is as follows: career path development, open research infrastructure, and collaborations with other organizations, and also dedicated projects in the same field. How it all began? It began in 2018 with the Horizon 2020 project called Life Science Alliance, Closing Research and Innovation Divide. And during that project, we managed to come up with a statement about our position for Horizon Europe, mainly focusing on widening instruments. We performed research performance assessment of our partners. We did also some kind of inventory of best practices within our alliance. And we finished with a white paper publishing about the recommendations. How do we see the feasibility to close this research and innovation gap in Europe? And towards the end of the project, it was October 2019, we came together in Vilnius and decided that regardless on funding from European Commission, we'll continue to work as organization, we'll continue to work as alliance, and we'll commit our internal resources to maintain these activities in future as well. Today, we were lucky. We managed to write a winning proposal, and now we have a new project, Alliance for Life Sciences, from strategies to actions, because the first project was mainly to fix the situation, to see the background, and now we are planning particular actions. We have 2 more countries on board, which means we have research organizations from Romania and Bulgaria. And now about the major objectives, what we are targeting. Culture. Build a culture that nurtures excellence in science. That might sound like a slogan, but it is not. Because during the project activities, we've planned to build a model for institutional peer evaluation. And this peer evaluation will take place over the summer this year. We also will establish so-called Research Management Academy to train our research managers and administrators, because we strongly believe in the fact that professional research administration is the key to success. We also will increase awareness of our institutions about the environmental problems. So we will take an action to implement Green Lab activity. And last not least, we are considering to assess at least the feasibility of implementation of core facility concept, which is well known in Europe and US, but not well established in Central and Eastern Europe. The next point in our objective is recognition, because it all depends on your reputation. It all depends on your networking. And this reputation should somehow develop trust towards research performed in Central Europe or Eastern Europe. To do so, we want to achieve a situation that at the end of the day, there will be a larger number of EU-funded research consortia, which are led by coordinators coming of Eastern European countries. So we want to cooperate closer between ourselves. We want to have this exchange of experience. We want to make us stronger as coordinators of research projects. And of course, we want to convince European industry, life science industry, that Central and Europe is one of the sources of innovations. Careers. Yeah, for careers, we want to promote mostly our talented new researchers. So we will establish so-called skills academy. We will teach our youngsters not only so-called transferable skills, we will teach them also management skills of research. We will teach them to negotiate with industry. And we want to have active brain circulation in our region, also attracting researchers from so-called old European countries. Next point is innovations. Our institute is exactly responsible for innovations work package in this project. And we want to let industry know where we are and what we can offer. To do so, we will invite industry representatives using our contacts to present their needs, to present what they really want to receive from research part. And these will be invited talks for members of so-called Research Management Academy. Similarly, we will invite these industry representatives to our mini conferences to inform them about the early stage research projects taking place in partner institutions. So to make them aware what's happening in our research area. And selected industry representatives will train our young researchers within the framework of Skills Academy to understand valorization potential of their discoveries. Of course, innovation means also research for industry, and our core facilities, or at least the research infrastructure which is open for collaboration with industry, will be summarized, and we will present this to our industrial partners. Last not least, we'll continue our activities in policy making. We want to take part in shaping the research infrastructure in our region in a way that it is favorable for really development of excellent science. That's briefly all about the Alliance for Life. If you want to know more about that, you can simply visit the webpage of our institute or just contact us directly. You are very welcome. And thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Oswald. So we're coming to the point where we're coming at questions and answers. Maybe there is a question and answer already coming for our panelists. Because before we start with questions and answers, the ground rules was basically questions for ministry. So I'm not and ministry representatives. So in panelists we have a Jan Spiders, a deputy. Yes, Jan is here. We have a Laumasik, which she is a permanent representative from Latvia Science and Education Ministry to Brussels, the European Commission. We have Osvalds Bulgovic, we have Armāns Smērāns, and we have Kristaps Kuļaviņš. So all of those five would be happy to answer a questions if they raise. So as I see, there's only one question being coming in writing, which was like, what was a key for a successful project proposal, and what let's say government could do about it? Maybe I'm, as a national contact point, I would say the key is not the let's say how to write a successful project, how to come with a great idea. So from the great idea, it's easy to write a proposal, but it's very hard to write a great proposal when you have a mediocre idea what to succeed. But Jans, I think this question more addressed to ministry.
Yes. If I can answer the question about what is needed to create a winning proposal and what the government can do to help. First of all, I would say there is no unique solution to this. This is a topic that is equally relevant across all participating countries in Horizon Europe, and mostly for those who have not yet participated. It sometimes boils, and usually it boils down to sufficient project writing expertise. It is not uncommon to have either consultants, which is often a really expensive solution, but either without consultancy to write projects, just an expertise from someone who has done. From the government side, what we can do to help, and what has impact for those who are, especially when it comes to business enterprises who often look at Horizon participation as a potential administrative burden with a really low threshold of success, especially for SMEs. As I mentioned, it was 4% right now, and it is similar across Europe. The government could alleviate the administrative costs for project proposals for first-time writers, but basically it's mostly yeah, that's about it.
I think Lauma raised her hand. Maybe she has a good idea. Yes, go on.
All right. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, good. Well, first I want to thank all speakers today. I was indeed delighted. I can repeat what Minister said. We feel delighted, and because the occasion is good, and we feel good because as a research system, because I've been in ministry since 1999, I think. And I indeed can say as a system, we are mature. We are no adult people in framework program, which is very good feeling. So this means that we also, I'm sorry, we also ask questions and we provide answers like adult people, and regarding how to write successful proposal in highly competitive conditions, answer is choose the right idea. I fully subscribe, and I thank you very much to Mr. Smērāns telling that, do research about your idea. Probably that idea is bright at your table, but you have to place that in the context of European research, innovation, and the global value chain. So do that hard homework, and indeed, probably we as research policy makers could provide some advice on some support for that. I agree with Jānis, who said, yeah, you sometimes need consultancy to do the hard work for you. This doesn't mean that it's just a business consultancy. It could be research consultancy, but it does the hard work for you because probably you are the top researcher who need to invest your time in different side. Once you have the right idea, choose the right target and shoot the right target. So become very, very rational, because that's really waste of time and money, and all member states are reporting that writing Horizon Europe or Horizon 2020 project that really costs money, because it costs your time and effort, so that costs money. So choose the right target and put your right target in a right policy framework. And there comes what researchers usually say, blah, blah, blah thing, but that is a thing. This is policy framework. Yeah, it's green and digital transition or European resilience. Those are not just words. Those are policy targets. Mission targets are the policy targets. So put that in a right context. And then again, I switch back to Armand Meiran's, what he said, choose the right partner. I remember few years ago, the Czech National Contact Point presented very interesting analysis. And I think that every contact point can use this methodology of that analysis. Well, how actually the winning projects look from the statistical point of view. And you will learn things about the right partner in the right country, the right size of the partner. And after that comes, how can you sell yourself to the right partner? Here we are again back to ministry. So under those support actions, there definitely should be support provided for participating in brokerage events. Yeah, for promoting yourself. Once you have something, you have to promote yourself. Yes, and I fully agree with Armand, it will take you a few years. If you are not experienced in and well known in the circles, that will take years, but don't give up, because that's the whole thing. Then there are institutional settings where we can get closer to industry. Those are joint undertakings, and those are European Institute of Technology, Knowledge and Innovation communities, or KICs, how we call them. Nothing prevents us to organize bilateral visits, to form the teams which really have something to ask them, and we can organize bilateral meetings. There could be virtual meetings, and I hope that science will help us also to switch back to personal meetings. It's absolutely important. You know the right people, you have talked to them, which helps you to establish personal trust. And then there is a national contact point. And we know, even if we mention you in presentation, just in the last slide with one line, it doesn't mean that we do not appreciate what national contact point does. The national contact point is your first advisor. And we hope that also during next programming period and structural funds, we provide sufficient support to national contact point. We would like to see this experience sharing, because we have successful project promoters and they have to share experience and to show the practical tips and steps how things are done. And the last thing is what I really like about Latvians, that we are rational. So the success rate, what was mentioned by Julien, basically reflects that. We are not shooting wrong targets. Once we prepare the project proposal, we go for something. And it also pays back if we prepare good project proposal, because then we also can refer back to national finance and to see probably we can use the Seal of Excellence, or again, that was mentioned by Jean-Eric. And we also considering transferring money to the Horizon Europe program. So basically, if there is a good project, and we consider from the Latvian side that it is good project, it also can have additional boost because that's our money, which is sitting there and waiting for good project. So that would be my advice in short, but as I said, well, start with the national contact point. Thank you.
I think there was also a hand from Oswald, and then there's Jānis' hand. So, Jāni, I think you're eager to talk, but Oswald has a hand before.
Not any longer, because
Okay.
perfectly addressed all the issues I wanted to rise up, and this is kind of very complex puzzle. And if one comes up with a bright research idea, scientific idea, she or he has to understand how his idea fits into that puzzle, and if it doesn't, then just find the right place for this. Okay, but yeah, Lauma was perfect. Thank you.
Jānis, you've been...
Yes, I just wanted to add one comment on top of what Lauma said about the indispensable role that national contact points have in this, is not only do you have to find the right place for your idea within the confines of Horizon Europe, but also within the whole range of instruments that we have. And in this area, I want to know that one of the things that we have already done, and we are starting to see, I would say, first results and probably a direct influence on our success rate, which is above the European average, is that we have aligned our national research grant programs similarly in terms of evaluation of international expertise, etc., as it is in Horizon Europe. So we don't have a system where we have a different set of rules depending on the program, and which is also, yeah, of course, important.
I think we can now switch to the questions came in, and there is a question coming from Prorector of Riga Strategic University, Agrit Kiopa. So the question was how to address the ERC grants. This has been really tough question because throughout the FP7 Horizon 2020, there's no success in Horizon 2020. FP7 gave a chance that there should be. So we kind of building the muscles. What could be his answer? I think Jānis could take over. From maybe my perspective as NCP, thinking about this philosophy, I think maybe we need to switch philosophically, that we need to grow it, not kind of by some strange circumstances just find it, but actually we need to grow it and focus institutionally, that within the 5 years, we need to send a mission to write one project from a country in ERC, and this could be a mission. But Jānis, take it over. The Apollo mission's on your shoulders.
Yes, about ERC grants and way how we achieve capacity in there. One thing I want to note is that even though, as I mentioned in my presentation, we have five to six even 4 times lower ERC performance than in Western Europe. Still, even if we would achieve their level of ERC results, we have to keep in mind that we have a small research system, and even then we cannot expect an ERC project every year. It is still something that we have a probability to get, and we need to increase this probability. But what I have to note is that from a national perspective, this is as Kaspars mentioned, not just about finding ways how to stimulate ERC successful proposals in our programs. It is about growing completely new capacity that we don't have right now. We have to increase our research capacity and our research, the amount of research grants that we have in order to increase our chances. But we have to. But as I said, I have to know that it is still even if we would have Swedish levels of ERC participation, it will still each year be a chance because our system is relatively compact.
Do you consider there could be a ministry kind of push up for ERC grants submission, or ERC as a really large mission for Latvia?
When it comes to ERC participation, this is something that we, through our I would say target shift towards research excellence, will stimulate somewhat. And this is also something that is not just related to incentives that we have in our research programs, but something that individual research institutions and universities have to address in their internal strategies as well. There needs to be, from all players, a conscious effort to work towards it.
I would like to bring to attention to all participants that starting from this year, in Commission's webpage, there's a particular webpage dedicated for info days. So if you Google, it's the most easiest way to find it, because it's Horizon Europe Info Days 2021 EU, and it's collection of all information days, brokerage events across the Horizon Europe, in particular in new 2021 working program. So for those ones, I would really push for it to really follow this webpage, as well as follow the NCP webpage on a VIA webpage, so State Education and Development Agency webpage, where the national contact point is located. Do we have any new set of questions or some remarks? Yes, Lauma, you have a remark.
Yeah. All right, I already learned how to use it. Look, guys, ERC is the same thing, be rational. ERC competition is even double tougher than that one in collaborative research and innovation, which means that, and it depends on other level of recognition. That's a global, international level of recognition. In order to get into that game, you first have to make familiar yourself with ERC. And again, I see that's a place where ministry can come in. And it's for a reason. Minister mentions those ERC fellows and mentoring. You start with talking with people who really have those successful teams. It's not that small countries are kicked out by default, not at all. And again, remember our success story, Mr. Ambainis. So the case is that you are really in the frontier research and you have influential, globally recognized friends. Let's be frank about that. Yeah. Here's the recognition of the institution, and the point is so important that there's no problem for us to earmark money for option that researchers which have this potential from Latvia could join possible research team, successful research team who has got ERC grant. So, well, this is on our own expense. That's true, yeah. But that's what we can do. We can ask for mentoring if we feel that it's necessary and we could gain something for us. Again, be rational, but it should be explored in direct talks to ERC. And the third thing is, again, what Jean-Eric said. When we transfer money to Horizon program, we can earmark it. And if we know that there in ERC will be somebody who is ready to receive it from Latvia, we can do it. But I think that for ERC, we have to establish, let's say, the special focus group in Latvia, which analyzes how far and successfully we can go. Yeah, there's no need just to throw project proposals there and then to complain why we are not recognized. Yeah, that's let's say another league. That's a championship on the highest level, but nothing can prevent us for familiarizing ourselves with that. Yeah, thank you.
Saying Kristaps wants to throw himself in a fight, and I think he has a vision. Go on, Kristaps.
So I would like to just comment on what has been said here and kind of approve in a way. So knowing myself a lot of successful ERC grantees, I work in an institute that has got several ERC grants at several levels. I can confirm that ERC is kind of strategic decision. It's not something you make on the fly. You need to plan ahead. There are research institutes in a world that has a postdoc program designed for ERC applicants. So when you finish a PhD, you know that in 6 years you're going to apply for ERC starting grant. That's really something that takes a lot of planning, a lot of effort to think ahead and to really work towards that. So it's a grant that really requires a lot of planning and positioning yourself, as Laumo correctly said, in international environment, seeing where you stand. And if you're not there yet, how you can get there, let's say in 3 or 4 years, and then get yourself ready for applying for this kind of big and really prestigious grant. Thank you.
Thumbs up. I think there was kind of a bit different question regarding the Brexit and its influence, but I think the Brexit is there's nothing new. The UK going to stay out, and then it's a third, well, it's an associated country, and it. Well, okay, Lama has some insights. Lama, please.
Yes, there is a very good post which says that here are work programs. Yeah, and so read first Horizon work programs because they are adopted. The second thing, so UK has concluded the free trade agreement with all its annexes. So the annex for Horizon program is absolutely ready. It's agreed, but it's not approved. And there are, well, political reasons why I'm not going to elaborate on that. So what can we do? We read what is written in the work program. We treat Horizon 2020 associated countries as they would be in Horizon Europe. So when preparing the project proposals, we can take associated countries and we can take UK. The only thing what ends up and is important, when the grant agreement should be signed, at that stage, the legal procedure has to be finished. That's the only risk which should be taken. But otherwise, nothing prevents us for taking them into the consortia. But probably, maybe also, well, but that's a consortia thing. I'm not teaching you how to do that. But the thing is that at this stage, we treat them as they are in. That's my answer. Thank you.
Maybe as we are rushing out of questions, I want to throw a proactive, let's say proactive, not proactive, provocative question to all three, let's say, successful players. I mean, would you bet that in the next timeline, or chances in Horizon Europe will be better than in Horizon 2020? So maybe start with Oswald and then to Armand and then Kristaps. So what's your feeling? You know, is it becomes harder, or you say it's like you have found the niche?
I think it's complex. The national funding for science is going down everywhere in Europe. So we have to count with the situation that there will be more competitors. On the other hand, of course, we have certain experience. We have already established partners. So my, let's say, gut feeling is that we will have a slight increase of success rate in HE in comparison to H2020.
Good. Armand.
Yes, thank you. So I think that LMT managed to do very important homework during the Horizon 2020. So we at the point we are more incomparably more experienced than we were a couple of years ago, and I think that it brings an ambition that Horizon Europe will also give to us more opportunities because our understanding programs is on much higher level, and we also understand more precisely our role in that all ecosystem. So we looking with good and positive hope for Europe and Horizon Europe. Thank you.
Christoph?
Yes, I can only confirm what the previous two speakers said. So also coming from outside to Latvia, and after almost 10 years abroad, I can see that the competence and experience and expertise to attract European funding has dramatically increased over the last years. So people have learned from their successes, they have learned from their failures, and they're being able to implement these learned lessons into successfully attracting more grant money from Horizon programs. So also think for the next time frame or Horizon Europe, I expect also to be the same, if not even better than before.
Okay, so now with Jans, I think you can kind of make a conclusions for today's meeting and have a reference on what just been said.
Yes, I wanted just to note about the potential success of Latvian institutions in Horizon Europe. If we only have identical share of Horizon Europe as we have in Horizon 2020, since the program itself is considerably larger, we are looking at not 115 million that we have right now, but 150, 160 million euros that we would obtain, which would be a considerable increase and a considerably increased role in our research and innovation system. So there is some leeway, some legroom on our ability to attract more funding from this program. On the other hand, what is still up to some degree of uncertainty is how well we can capitalize from different widening instruments in the new framework program that are three times more impactful than they were previously. If we manage to do that, I see our chances to easily repeat previous successes or even go beyond it.
I think it's very good note to finalize the meeting. I don't think that we need more comments or more questions. You know, it's really to the point. That's it. Let's go for next 7 years. The Horizon Europe is here. And we just need to go and submit the proposals and to find the partnerships. And a bit referred back to the national counterpoint if you need some advice. So thank you for joining both attendees and panelists. I think it was a very good starting. And from now on, it's official. That's it. Horizon Europe is launched and we need to start doing. So thank you for joining.
Thank you very much for leading the debate, and thank you. That was indeed pleasure. I feel very optimistic.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.